going on, everybody? Andre Dorsey here again with Dorsey Made Gaming, and I wanna y'all like my Think Geek? Look, I can try to get it in there. Yeah, Think Geek. And now I'm not sponsored by Think Geek, cause y'all know I work at GameStop. But anyway, man, today I want to talk about how the console wars, man. I want to talk about the console wars because it's a war out there, man. And really what I want to present to the table today is some knowledge. All right. You got the Xbox One. I got it. You got the PlayStation 4 Pro. I got it. You got this baby right here. The Nintendo Switch. I got it. So you're gonna have to ask yourself this, man. This is one thing that people, even coming into the store and stuff, ask: what console should I get? What console is good for me? What's the best console out there? And Sony, Microsoft, even Nintendo, these consoles, they're at war with each other. And the Scorpio just released, Project Scorpio just released some of their specs, and they're freaking mind blowing. Same thing with the PlayStation 4 Pro. At that time, they were mind blowing. Now, Xbox is doodling on Sony with their specs, and people are up in arms. You got the Xbox fanboys. Oh, the Xbox. Oh, PlayStation fanboys. Oh, the PS, man. Yeah. Nintendo with Zelda. Hey, but all in all, man, listen. Here's some truth, man. This is the scary truth about these things. And this is my warning to each and every one of you who may be considering a console. Don't get caught up with the specs, man. Don't get caught up with the specs. And I say that, the specs are all well and fine. Don't get me wrong. You got to have a powerful console. You got to have a console that's going to be able to do some things. But here lies the issue. And listen closely now. Issue number one. I forget numbering them because I know I'm going to forget. Here's the issue, man. The issue is, what good does it do to have a powerful console if that console does not put out good games? At the end of the day, we're gamers. And at the end of the day, we want games that's going to do exactly what we want them to do. We're going to want games that has good gameplay, a game that has great graphics, a game that has hours of gameplay, good depth, things of that nature. Microsoft is kind of on the board with me right now because they're wanting developers, kind of the same way they did with the PlayStation 4 Pro, with Sony did, to basically say, hey, we got this console, but here's the catch. We want you to make it to where it still plays the Xbox One games. There's even been developers coming out and saying that could potentially limit the power of this console. I think that's something. I think that's something to really take into consideration too, man. Because the thing about it is this. I mean, yeah, you'll have an awesome game out there. You'll have this console that's really, really good, that's doing the thing. But if it's limited, man, what good does that do? It's almost like a huge piece of technology just sitting there being wasted, and you can't have that, man. People, I'm just warning y'all. Same thing with the Nintendo Switch. The Switch it's cool. It has potential, but will it live up to that potential? That's gonna depend. That's gonna depend on several factors. Right now, those Joy-Cons, these right here, these Joy-Cons, guess how much they cost? $70. $70. People will say, oh, well, it's because of the HD Rumble. Let me set the record straight for this, okay? If you have a Switch and you don't have a Switch, it doesn't matter. If you've played 1-2 Switch on the Switch console or a handheld hybrid, whatever you want to call it, Um, that is that's the tech demo. There's a thing on there where you hold them like this, and you could feel how many. You have to guess how many balls are actually in the box on the screen in your controller. And the thing about that is, it's awesome. It's cool. It's like, wow, this is amazing. But the difference maker is going to come when developers have to use that technology. And are they going to be able to use that? Same way in the PlayStation 4 when it first came out, we had Infamous Second Son. And you had a thing on there where you was spray painting. Remember, you used to have to shake the controller and actually do it like that to spray paint it. And what was interesting about that, like here, I got my PS4 controller right here. Remember, you had this was the spray button, and you basically, I mean, it was cool. It actually felt like a can, and you would shake it up, and you would actually hear that sound and kind of feel like, the little ball that you feel whenever you spray painting. You would have that feature as well. And it's like, wow, this is really awesome. You would even be able to use the touchpad, and they would utilize the microphone. Now, that was like, this is really cool. It's a little bit more immersion into the game. However, not many developers utilize that technology. Same way, like I said, with the Switch. With that HD Rumble, you paying $70-some for a Pro controller, $70-some for a pair of Joy-Cons, all for that HD Rumble. And yes, it has an Amiibo reader in it. I understand that. But like I said, unless these developers utilize that technology, it is wasted. And the majority of AAA big-time developers, they don't worry about stuff like that. They don't bother with stuff like that. Now, will Nintendo put out games that utilize that? Most definitely, because they're going to utilize what they put in money for. But like me, for instance, big Dragon Ball Z fan, got Xenoverse 2 on the PS4. Xenoverse 2 is coming to the Nintendo Switch. Will they utilize the Joy-Cons? I don't know. It will require them to do a lot of things different in the video game that I don't know if they're going to do that or not. It's one of those things. So when I look at the Xbox One Project Scorpio, and I'm seeing these specs, yeah, on paper, they look amazing. It's just like sports. Like, y'all know me. I played college football. Huge football fan. Played semi-pro and all that. You know what I'm saying? You can have a team, or you can have a player that looks good on paper, and coaches and scouts look at that and they understand that. But the difference comes in is how are they going to perform on the field? And I'm not doubting that the Xbox One, the new Xbox is going to perform. And there's no doubt. I got the PlayStation 4 Pro. It performs. The Nintendo Switch, it performs. But when these games start coming out, is it going to live up to that expectation? You know what I'm saying? It's just like, if I have a star player, Hall of Fame, Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis should perform. He has everything in him to perform. But that's not a guarantee that he's going to have a good game. Same way with these consoles. On paper and even in the software, there's a ton of stuff there for these consoles to be elite. However, it is really in the hands of the developer if they're going to live up to the power of their console. Now, when Microsoft and even PlayStation, because they said, look, we're not going to do only PlayStation 4 Pro games. We're going to do regular PlayStation 4 games. And if the developers so choose, they can make it enhanced. Let me show y'all real quick. Hold up. Okay, so now see that ain't even got it on there. Let me see. I'm trying to find one of my games that's got it on there. Okay, I don't see it. I'm not going to look for it right now. But this, if you look on the back of the games there, see, this one doesn't say PlayStation 4 Pro Enhanced. And this is MLB The Show 17. So, like Horizon, perfect example. I don't even have it over here with me. Horizon Zero Dawn. If you look on the back of that case, it says PlayStation 4 Pro Enhanced. Those developers chose to utilize the PlayStation 4 Pro, meaning you'll have features on that game that you don't have in the regular PlayStation 4 version. Not as far as different gameplay, but versions as far as adjusting the frame rate, adjusting the resolution and things of that nature. And it looks beautiful. HDR, awesome. HDR is on MLB The Show. And so that's where you'll see the difference. And I think that Xbox is going to pretty much do the same thing. Now, what I would like to see Xbox basically say this is a standalone console. Developers make standalone games for this console. To me, that is what could possibly bring Microsoft back from the slump that it's having right now with having so many developers, um, having so many developers being dropped. Or console exclusives, because right now it's not looking good for Xbox. I mean, you got the Forza series, Horizon, and Forza Motorsport, and then you have Gears of War, and you have Halo. Um, you know, Halo didn't do too hot this year. Gears of War, I mean, the Gears of War fan, they gonna be faithful. But there was an exclusive called Scalebound, and I want y'all to go check it out. Scalebound, man, it was legit. Scalebound was legit. It looked like it was going to be awesome. Gone. So I would really like for Microsoft to say, look, this is going to be a separate console. And I think developers would be happy as well because then they get to put out a really good content as well, you know. It's just like having a coach. You know, if he gets his hand on a 5-star recruit, man, he licking his chops at what he could do with it. You know what I'm saying? It's the same way with the developers. When they get these consoles, they want to put out good content just as bad as we want it. But when they get a console and they say, hey, here's this console, or hey, here's this 5-star recruit, but hey, he's limited. You know, he can only do so much. And you never get to really meet that full potential. It hurts the developers too, you know, because just like we want awesome stuff like that, they want to create and put out awesome stuff like that as well. So with all of that being said, you can't limit these consoles, man. And I know that Microsoft is doing it for the fan base and stuff like that, but you know what I'm saying? I think you end up hurting yourself. So I'm just saying this for people to not rush out and buy these consoles. For instance, the Nintendo Switch is a hot commodity right now, but there's no games for it. Man, if you're a Zelda fan, that's great. That's awesome, you know. But other than Zelda, there's not many games. If hardly any, you got Zelda, Has Been Heroes, you got Lego City Undercover, you've got The Binding of Isaac. You know, there's very few games. Hey, so Nintendo don't even have up the virtual console for the Nintendo Switch right now. So you know, I got mine, and it's look at it. It's collecting dust, man, because there's nothing to play on it. You know, and same way with the PlayStation. If the PlayStation 4 Pro had came out now, what would there be to play? Actually, no, I'll take that back. There'd be some pretty decent games to play on it because you had Horizon, you got Ghost Recon, you had Neo. There's a couple of titles there. There's some meat there with those potatoes. And same way with the Xbox One, when it drops, the new one, when the Xbox drops, there, you know, being able to play those past gen consoles gives you something to play until they come out with something there for that console. But all in all, man, these things, it's a war, man. And I'm just trying to give y'all the helpful information that y'all need to sit down and think about it before you go out and purchase these consoles. Am I saying not to buy them? No, by all means, buy whichever one that you like. Only thing that I'm saying is don't get caught up. Basically, don't get caught up with the specs, because until they put out great games that utilize the full potential of those consoles, that's all you're looking at. You got something that you can't even reach the full potential of. You half-assing it. And on the end note, to the perfect example, Horizon Zero Dawn came out, PlayStation exclusive, PlayStation 4 Pro enhanced. Many people thought that it was pushing the limits of the PlayStation 4 Pro. The developers of Horizon Zero Dawn stated and said that by the time that Horizon Zero Dawn was almost finished with production, that's when they got their hands on the PlayStation 4 Pro dev kit. So they were almost done with the game before the PlayStation 4 Pro ever came out, so they were never able to fully utilize the PlayStation 4 Pro's potential. And so when people thought that, yeah, this is going to use and show off the PlayStation 4 Pro, as good as it is, as awesome as it looked, guess what? It didn't even show half of what the PlayStation 4 Pro can truly do. And it was scary when I heard that, because it was like, wow, this is awesome, you know? And so I'm excited to see what the PlayStation 4 is going to do in the future. Do you think for a second that they ain't got no answer for that? You crazy. Hey, They got an answer for the play. They got an answer for the Xbox. The Xbox coming out with that. Look at PlayStation through boost mode. You don't think they got another trick up their sleeve? Yeah, they do, man. Sony ain't crazy, man. And it's all a part of the war. You want them to show their hand, and then you show your true hand, and vice versa. It's a war. But I ain't trying to educate y'all. Be smart about your decisions. Don't get overhyped with the specs of these consoles and things like that, man. Take your time, do your homework, look at the small details. It's a small detail, but it's a huge thing. And that huge thing is, what are the games going to be like? Yeah, the console looks great on paper. Yeah, everything looks good, but what is the games? That's where it's at. Because without a game, that console ain't nothing but paperweight. You see what I'm saying? That's all I got for today, man. Till next time, y'all.